Social distancing, folks, this is a word, a term you're going to hear a lot. It's going to become more prominent as the coronavirus spreads. So will this help quell the outbreak, or is bolder action needed? I want to bring in Dr. Jen Caudle with us. Dr. Caudle, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I was reading where there's an article over the weekend from a big research report on the initial virus perhaps mutating in China, saying that there was a more aggressive version of it that sort of faded away in January as they locked down that entire country. We've seen aggressive testing and measures in South Korea. Now we're getting lower and lower daily numbers there. And now Italy is quarantining, the Lombardy region, 17 million people. Is this something America should really seriously consider? We've got hotbeds of this. Instead of, being much more aggressive with locking down these areas, these counties, for 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's a great question. You mentioned a number of really interesting points there. I want to make a quick point about the virus mutating, Charles, that you're referring to. I saw a couple of articles over the weekend about virus mutations and what that may mean. Let me just say that viruses, that's what they do. They mutate. They will change. They will change. They will change. It doesn't necessarily mean that the virus is going to become more lethal, more deadly, more problematic. But, in the scope of that, I think the real issue is not so much whether the virus mutated or whether it is. I mean, I think we can expect that it will. It's what we're doing on the outside, which brings me to your second point, which is, are we doing enough in terms of social distancing and isolation, et cetera? The thing about quarantining and things of that nature is that the decision really has to be made and is made at the state and local level in association with the federal authorities. And of course, whether we decide to quarantine or sort of lock down a place or a region really depends on what's going on there. It's going to be dependent on a number of factors. May that be appropriate in some areas? It's possible, yes. Is that appropriate for everywhere? No, it's not at this point. But in terms of social distancing, just quickly to make a point about that, I do think that social distancing may become more and more and more important as we come in the days and weeks, especially for those who have chronic underlying medical conditions and who may be older.
What about folks, though, who don't meet that criteria? Just healthy 28-year-olds sitting at home ordering Netflix and because they're afraid to go outside.
You're right. So those who are just, sitting around ordering Netflix and young and healthy, remember that the risk for the majority of people in this country still is low. OK, so for that person who is healthy, that's not sort of in an area that's got a lot of coronavirus, that doesn't have any underlying medical conditions, they're not older, et cetera, the risk is still generally considered to be low. So the idea is we still want people to go about their daily lives. And that's where this is sort of almost like a tiered approach. Every region, every environment, every person may have a different level of risk depending on who they are and where they are and what's going on in their region.
Dr. Caudle, thank you very much. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.